So, welcome back, friends. And next thing, which as a valuer you are supposed to be conversant with, and which is very important, is three things which are important: mean, median, and mode. So basically, it is under the heading of central tendency. So central tendency is stated as the statistical measure that represent the single value of the entire distribution of a data set. So for that, you have to find out mean, median, and mode. So how this standard tendency is measured? Mean, you know, it is average of all data sets. For example, you have a data set 2, 6, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. And is the mean is you add all the terms of the data set and divide it with the number of terms. 2 plus 4 plus 6 plus 8 plus 10 divided by 5 equal to 6. 6 is the mean of the data set. Then median. Median is basically the central point, middle point of the data set. So we have already done how this median is find out. If the number of terms are odd, then there is no problem. First thing is what you have to do, you have to arrange the data in the ascending order. For example, you have a data set 3, 1, 4, 2, 5. You arrange it in the ascending order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this term 3, this represents the median of the data set, which is in the center. And if the number of terms are even not odd, then what you have to do? For example, you have a data set 3, 1, 4, 2, you do arrange it in a ascending order 1, 2, 3, 4. So in this case, you have to, if the number of terms are 4, see these are 4 or even number of terms, then you will be taking the mean of the middle two, which is 2 and 3. So average of 2 or mean of 2 is 2 plus 3 by 2, 2.5. It is a median. And then mode. So mode is most frequently occurring value in a data set. For example, you have a data set 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. Here 2 is appearing more than 1, 3, and 4. It is appearing twice. So it is called, 2 will be called the mode of the data set. Then measure of dispersion. So dispersion is statistics is the extent to which the values in the data set differs from the average. For example, there are certain things which are important from dispersion point of view. One is range. So for example, you have a data set 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So the range is that highest value minus lowest value. So the range is 30 minus 10, 20. 20 is the range of this data set. Range is the difference between the highest and the lowest value. That is the range of the data set. And remember, for that, first, what you have to do, you have to arrange the data in the ascending order. For example, for the property price is 50 lakh, 60 lakh, 70 lakh. The range is 70 lakh minus 50 lakh. 20 lakh is the range of the value. Then variance. Variance is that how you will be finding variance. Deduct the mean from each data in the set, square of each of them. First of all, you will find the mean of the data set, and then you will subtract square. You will get the sum of square of difference between mean and the term, that will be called variance, and divide it with the number of terms. For example, see data set, you have data set 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. You know its mean is 6, 2 plus 4, 6 plus 6, 12 plus 8, 10 plus 10, 20. So the mean is 6. So what you have to do? Is it 2 minus 6 whole square, 4 minus 6 whole square, 6 minus 6 whole square, 8 minus 6 whole square, 10 minus 6 whole square, and divided with the number of terms, which is 5. So answer will be 8. This is called variance. And next is quartile deviation, which is also called interquartile range. It is the difference between third quartile and first quartile. For example, in the first quartile, Q1 is 50 lakh and the third quartile is 70 lakh, and then the interquartile range is 70 lakh. Then the range is 70 minus 50 lakh, 20 lakh. Standard deviation. So standard deviation is square root of variance is called standard deviations. For example, in the above set, you have find out 8 as a variance, and if you take its square root, so then it will be called square root of the variance is called standard deviation. Then skewness. Skewness measures the asymmetry of the distribution of values in a data set. It indicates whether the data points tend to fall more on one side of the mean than the other. Then this skewness may be positive skewness, negative skewness, skew, or zero skew. So when the tail on the right side of the distribution is longer or fatter than the left side. For example, income distribution in many countries where a small number of pupils earn significantly more than the majority, as in India. So their income is distribution is positively skewed. Then negatively skew when the tail on the left side is longer or fatter than the right side. For example, age at retirement, where most people retire around a certain age, but few would retire much earlier. And zero skew when the data is symmetrically distributed. For example, heights of adult males in a large population, which typically follow a normal distribution. So for finding the skewness, you have to use the formula 3 multiplied by mean minus median divided by standard deviation. So you can understand this positive, negative, and zero skewness. See, in case of this thing, you have to remember in positive skew, mean is greater than median and mod. See here, mean is greater than median and mod in positive skew. And then this left side is more fatter in negative skew. Here, mod is greater than median and median is greater than mod. You have to remember this. And in case of zero skewness, mean, mod, and median, they are all of them are equal. So you must remember this thing for skewness. In positive skewness, mean greater than median, greater than mod. Negative skew, mod greater than median, greater than mean. And zero skew means mean, mod, and median, they are equal. So we will take an example that will make the things clear. Find the skewness of the given data 2, 4, 6, and 6. So first of all, you find the mean of the data 2 plus 4 plus 6 plus 6 divided by 4. 18 by 4, 4.5 is the mean of the data. Number of terms are 4 even. So median of the data. So for median, you have to take average of the middle two, 4 plus 2, 6 by 2. Median of the data is 5. And mod of the data, highest frequency of terms, which is, 6 is repeating 2 times. So mod is 2. The fun, you have to find out standard deviation. Standard deviation, what you have to do? From the mean, you subtract each data set, data term 4.5 minus 2, 4.5 minus 4, 4.5 minus 6, 4.5 minus 6. Square them, add them, divide with number of terms, that will give you, and take its square root. That will give you standard deviation, which comes out to be 1.6.5.8. Now see here, here mod, see here, mod is 6, median is 5, and mean is 4.5. It means mod is greater than median, and median is greater than mean. What does this mean? It means your data set have negative skew, negative skewness. So skewness, if you know how the formula is skewness 3 into mean minus median divided by standard deviation 3 into 4.5 minus 5 divided by 1.658. Skewness comes out to be minus 0.904. So see here, skewness is minus 0.904. Otherwise, you need not to find, you can simply tell from here what should be the type of skewness. Here mod is greater than median and median is greater than mean. It means it is negatively skewed, this data set is. Then next is elementary theory of probability. So probability, what it does, it measures the likelihood of an event occurring ranging from 0, 0 means impossible, to 1 means certain. For example, if you toss a coin, the probability of getting head in a single coin toss is 0.5. So basically, what is the probability and what is probability distribution? So here, number of events you have tossed the coin single time, and there are two possibilities, head or tail. So number of events divided by number of possibilities, that will give you the probability. Then probability distribution, it is a mathematical function that describes the probability of different possible values of a variable. So probability distributions are often depicted using a graph of probability tables. For example, you have a random variable x, it can have any value between 1 and 6. So each value will have its probability 1 upon 6. So let us suppose you have a dice, and when you throw a dice, so probability of getting the 1 is 1 upon 6, getting 2 is 1 upon 6, getting 3 is 1 upon 6, 4 is 1 upon 6, 5 is 1 upon 6, and 6 is 1 upon 6. So when you draw this probability distribution on a graph, it will be like this. So each 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, they have an equal probability of 1 by 6. See here. So a probability distribution is an idealized frequency distribution. A frequency distribution describes a simple specific sample of the data set. It is the number of times each possible value of a variable occurs in a data set. Next is a discrete probability distribution. It deals with a discrete random variable. For example, number of heads in a coin toss. Discrete means a whole number. For example, if you have to note down the number of persons in each household. Ji Siva Prasad.
Sir, can you show that calculation of variance once?
Sir, let us complete the topic first, and then we will. Okay. I will show you.
Okay.
So discrete means a whole number. For example, if you have to note down the number of persons in each household in an equality, the number of persons will be in a whole number. For example, you toss a coin 3 times, then there are chances that all the 3 you may get 0 times head, 1 time head, 2 times head, or in all the 3 times you get 3 heads. and possible outcomes are 0, 1, 2, or 3. So probability, here you will be using a probability using binomial form. So probability of all possible values of a discrete property distribution are added up to 1. Then next is continuous probability distribution. A continuous probability distribution is a probability distribution of a continuous variable. What is continuous variable? A continuous variable can have any value between its lowest and highest value. Therefore, continuous probability distribution include every number in a variable's range. So it is stated by the equation fx is equals to nx p raised to power x q raised to power n minus x, where p is the probability of success of an individual trial, q is equals to 1 minus p is the probability of failure, n is the number of trials, and x is the number of successes from n trials. So nx is equals to, if you, how this nx is calculated, it is equals to n factorial divided by x factorial multiplied by n minus x factorial. So this is basically what this n over x represents. So given that 20% of all adults can pass a specific cognitive test, what is the probability that out of 5 randomly selected adults, 3 of them will pass the test? So since there are only 2 possible outcomes, pass or fail, so we can say that PMF for a binomial distribution to determine the probability, where the probability P is equals to 0.2, Q is 1 minus 0.2, means 0.8, N is 5, but those who are in this P is 20%, you have to check for 20%, so P is 0.2, Q is 1 minus P, that is 0.8, N is equals to 5, and X equals to 3. All the values 5 over 3, P raised to power selected adults, 3 of them will pass. So number of persons who can pass that is 3.2 raised to power 3.3, 0.8 raised to power 5 minus 3. So n over x, you know, it is equals to 5 factorial over 5 factorial into 5 minus 3, 2 factorial. You put all the values, it comes out to be 0.05. So thus there is 5% probability that 3 out of 5 randomly chosen adults will pass this cognitive test. So this is all about statistics which you must know. So one of you have asked about this calculation of variance. One of you have asked you about this slide. Is it okay?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
So this is all about statistics. You should at least know these things from examination point.
सर इसका यूज कहाँ पे है हमारी ये जो वैल्यूएशन में है?
So all of you have
आवाज नहीं आ रही सर. सर
studied this topic
आवाज सर
in
बहुत
your
टूट रही है.
engineering. This was just to revise whatever you have. Just hold on, I will be changing the internet. Is it okay now?
No.
Yes sir.
Okay. Thank you. Our next topic is environmental issues in valuation. So in environmental issues in valuation, you have to study differences between market price and the negative value consequent on environmental impact, environmental issues of air pollution, water pollution, environmental factors and their effects, measures to restore the damage, cost to cure. Then you need to understand the basics of the environmental legislation such as Indian Forest Act 1927, Water Prevention and Control Act 1974, Air Prevention and Control Act 1981, Environmental Protection Act 1986, and laws related to industrial health and safety. And it has a weightage of 3%. So here, main thing you have to learn about the uh, different acts from where you may get 1 to 2 questions, and then another thing from effect of environment on the valuation, how it affects the valuation, and then you have to study the laws related to industrial health and safety, and mostly the plant and machinery values. They are already conversant with them, these, but they must know basics of these acts. So environmental and valuation. So as a land and building valuer, you must know what are the environmental factors that can influence, especially the real estate valuation. First thing is greenery and landscape. You know the properties with ample greenery, ample landscaping, they have often higher value. For example, property with more greenery and attractive features, they always command higher prices. And then proximity to water bodies. means nearer to seasides, nearer to rivers, etc. So it has both positive and negative effects. If the property is having scenic view of the sea, or it has having recreational opportunities, the property it can offer recreational opportunities, then such type of properties which are nearer to the water bodies like lakes, rivers, they can have higher value. Otherwise, if they are in the flood prone areas, so these properties which are in the flood prone areas, they may have lower value due to the associated risk with them. Then the noise pollutions, you know, the areas with the having higher noise pollution, such as industrial areas, or the areas where there are number of noise polluting industries, even the properties which are nearer to the national highway where there is a huge noise pollution due to traffic, they, these such properties have typically lower value. And then air pollution. So you know the areas with the high noise pollution, they typically have lower property value. As you know, the property near the in the national capital region where the air quality is very poor, or the property which are nearer to the industrial areas, they have lower property value because of higher air pollution. And then water pollutions, properties which are near to the polluted rivers, polluted lakes, polluted nalas, which are affected by the industrial discharge, they often see reduced value. Then the energy efficiency, the property with having energy efficient features such as heating systems, energy efficient solar panels, high efficiency heating systems, etc., they can have higher value because of increasingly sustainable and cost-effective homes look. And then the properties which are subjected to environmental risks like flooding, landslides, or pollution, they can have lower value. For example, properties flood zones, they might be less attractive to the buyers, leading to lower prices. So as a value, you must understand how the environmental factors may negatively affect the value of the asset of which you are going to do the valuation. First thing, as you know, you must be conversant with this market value. And in simple terms, market value, you know the definition, but in simple terms, we can say that the price at which a gallon, a product or service is sold in the market, reflecting the direct cost of production. That is called market price. For example, a gallon of gasoline might be sold for rupees 100, which includes cost of crude oil, refining, distribution, and retail margins, etc. That is market price. But what is negative environmental value? So these are the indirect costs associated with environmental damage caused by the production or consumption of the product, which is not included in the market price. See here, what is negative environmental value? This is the indirect cost associated with the environmental damage caused by the production or consumption of a product which is not included in the market price. For example, the same gallon of gasoline which burned, it emits carbon dioxide and other pollutants, which is contributing to the air pollution and climate change. So these environmental costs, such as health impacts from air pollution and climate mitigation expenses, these are not reflected in the 100 rupees price. this is negative environmental value. I think this thing is clear to you. So what is negative environmental value? Then to address the gap between market price and negative environmental value, various approaches can be used. Carbon pricing. So implementing carbon taxes or cap and trade system to incorporate the cost of carbon emissions. Then enforcing strict, stricter environmental standards and regulations to reduce environmental negative impacts, and encouraging the adoption of sustainable practice in production and consumption to minimize environmental damage. This is how you can address the gap between market price and negative environmental value. The environmental issues and their effect on the real estate valuation. First is air pollution. So what is air pollution? Air pollution means contamination of indoor or outdoor environment by any chemical, physical, or biological agent that modifies the natural characteristics of the atmosphere. So this is air pollution. So how it affects? How the air pollution affects the value of the property? So poor air quality can significantly reduce property value. So basically here you have to learn the effect of environmental on the property value. So the aim is not to study environmental issues, but you have to study the effect of environmental issues on the property values. How this air pollution can affect the property value? Of course, it will reduce the property value if the quality of air is poor. For example, properties in areas with high levels of air pollution often see decreased demand due to health concerns and reduced quality of life. For example, homes in a highly polluted areas can see a price reduction up to 15% compared to the similar properties in cleaner area. And another thing which will affect the value, that is restoration measures. So implementing stricter emission controls, promoting green spaces, and using air purification technologies, these can improve the air quality. But there are two things which will affect the reduction. One is that automatically the poor quality of air will reduce the value of the properties in a particular area. But another thing which is associated with it is cost to cure. So if it means if you try to bring it to the normal conditions, means to reduce air pollution, what will be the cost to cure? So for example, if you have to reduce the air cost, it means you may be installing air quality monitoring system. You may be upgrading infrastructures to reduce our emissions. You may be planting trees, etc. For example, improving air quality in urban areas like Delhi involved substantial investment in public transportation and green infrastructure. So these all things will again affect the value of the properties. Though they may or may not be directly associated with the value of the properties, but they definitely affect the value of the properties. Similarly, air pollution, water pollution can also affect the value of the property. First, you should know what is water pollution. Water pollution is the release of substances in subsurface groundwater or into lakes, streams, rivers, waterways, and oceans to the point that substance interferes with the beneficial use of the water with or with the natural functioning of the ecosystem. So this, in many cities there are many such instances where the water is being released, polluted water is being released in the water bodies, and pupils are
सर जिवें लुधियाना में
those
बुड्ढा
who are hello
बुड्ढा नाला at लुधियाना passing through the लुधियाना बुड्ढा नाला नालों कंट्रीब्यूट टू गंदा नाला तो वाटर पोल्यूटेंट हैगा जी वाटर बॉडी सारी वो कर रहे हैं पोल्यूट कर रहे हैं
yes sir.
ਬਠਿੰਡਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਰਾ ਆਪਣਾ ਅੰਡਰਗਰਾਉਂਡ ਵਾਟਰ ਹੀ ਖਰਾਬ ਹੈ ਜੀ
So it sir, if you have to live in India, you have to cope up.
सर बिल्कुल जी सर
So what are its effects?
Please
So,
avoid disturbance during the flow of subjects.
so what the effect contaminated water can do? So basically, we will be restricting our discussion up to the reduction of its effect on the valuation. So how this water pollution can affect the value of the property? Of course, it will reduce and significantly depreciate the property values, especially in waterfront properties. For example, groundwater contamination from agricultural runoff can reduce the property values by 2 to 6%, and more severe contamination from industrial discharge leading up to 15% decrease. So how it can be restored? Upgrading wastewater treatment facilities, implementing stricter regulations on industrial discharge, and promoting sustainable agricultural practices. This is what we should do, but this is what we are not doing, we can say. And I think add to the reduction of value of the property, not directly but indirectly, that is cost to cure. This cost include building advanced wastewater treatment plants, cleaning up contaminated water bodies, and enforcing regulations. For example, cleaning up of the Ganga required significant investment, but resulted in improved water quality and increased property values. Then environmental factors, other environmental factors and their effects. Noise pollution. Noise pollution, what is noise pollution? Basically, noise pollution is, it refers to the unwanted or excessive sounds that can negatively impact the human health, wildlife, and environmental quality. Common sources of noise pollution are industrial activities, traffic, construction, and loud music, etc. For example, the properties near airports, highways, railways often suffer from noise pollution, leading to the reduced prices of the properties. Homes within 3.5 kilometer radius of an airport can see a price reduction up to 13%. But it has both factors, because near this 3.5 kilometer radius, you may need a number of hotel industry there. But as far as properties are concerned, property values are bound to reduce in this particular way. Then how you can restore them? You can install sound barriers using noise reducing building materials and implementing zoning regulations to limit noise pollution. And what is the cost to cure involved in it? Costs include constructing sound barriers and retrofitting buildings with noise reducing material. For example, soundproofing homes near highways can expensive but can significantly improve the property values. And then another factor which is important environmental factor is soil contamination. Soil contamination, also known as soil pollution, it occurs when harmful substances are present in soil at the level that pose risk to the human health, ecosystem, or environment. Means when the harmful substances are in such a quantity that they may risk the human health, ecosystem, or environmental, etc. For example, industrial activities, agricultural chemicals, etc. that may cause soil contamination. And of course, this contaminated soil will lead to health risks, which will eventually reduce the property values. And of course, another problem is that properties nearer to such contaminants will have more depreciation than the other properties. And how it can be reduced, how can be restored? It can be done with bioremediation method, soil washing and excavation, etc. And what will be the cost to cure such environmental effect? It will depend upon the extent of contamination and the chosen remediation method. For example, cleaning up a contaminated industrial sites can be costly, but is necessary to restore property value and ensure safety of the inhabitants. So, what is integrated approach for addressing environmental issues in valuation? It requires a comprehensive approach, which including regulatory measures, means enforcing environmental regulations to prevent pollution. Then technological innovations mean choosing advanced technologies for pollution control and remediation, and involving the community, means engaging local communities in sustainable initiatives. Then certain environmental legislation in your syllabus which you must be conversant with. The first one is Indian Forest Act 1927. You need not to go into the details of this act. You must know the basic things about this act. So what is the objective of this act? It is the objective is to consolidate the laws relating to forest, the transit of forest produce, and the duty liable on timber and other forest produce. What are the key provisions of this act? Under this act, certain areas which are designated, they are declared as a reserved forest, and where all activities are prohibited unless permitted. So there are reserved forest. Then second type of forest are protected forest. So there is difference between reserved forest. In reserved forest, all types of activities are prohibited unless permitted. In protected forest, areas with partial protection where certain activities are regulated. And in third type is village forest. These forests are assigned to the village community for management and use. And what are the penalties and procedures under this act? This act defines the forest offenses and penalties for violations. Violating these prohibitions can result in fine, imprisonment, or both, depending upon the severity of the offense. So activities which are prohibited as per the Indian Forest Act are 1927 are grazing, tree felling, hunting and fishing, quarrying, cultivation, and collection of forest produce. Second act in your syllabus is Water Prevention and Control Act 1974. Its objective is to prevent and control water pollution and maintain or restore the wholesomeness of the water. These key provisions are under this act, the central and state pollution control boards are established to monitor and control water pollution. What are the powers and functions? Board can set the standards, inspect of the facilities, and enforce regulations for water pollution prevention. And it can impose fines and imprisonment for non-compliance of with the act. Next is the Air Prevention and Control Pollution Act 1981. Its objective is to prevent, control, and abate air pollution. The key provisions of this act are same under the Water Pollution Act. The same act apply for establishment of the central and state pollution control board, who are responsible for implementing this act, and it designates the areas where air pollution standards must be met, especially in industrial areas, etc. And it also set the regulations for emissions from the industrial plants and vehicles, and penalties. It includes fines and imprisonments for violation. And remember, the noise pollution, it also comes under the Air Pollution Act, and they have allowed certain up to certain decibels in different zones the noise of levels, and if it is more than that particular decibel level, then it will be called as noise pollution. The next is Environmental Protection Act 1986. Its objective is to protection and environment of the environment and for matters connected therewith. Key provisions of this act are it gives central governments the powers for environmental protection, including setting standards and regulating industrial activities. It defines and regulates the pollutants harmful to the environment. It also gives authority to the competent authorities to apply strict penalties for non-compliance, including fines and imprisonment. And it is an umbrella legislation, means it acts as a comprehensive framework for environmental protection, integrating various environmental laws. So this legislation forms the backbone of India's environmental regulatory framework, aiming to protect, preserve natural resources while promoting sustainable development. Then the laws related with the industrial health and safety in India. First act is the Factories Act 1948. This act deals with the health, safety, and welfare of the workers in the factory. Its key provision is to ensure cleanliness, proper ventilation, and adequate lighting so that the health of the workers is maintained in good condition. Then for safety, it mandates safety measures like fencing of machinery, provision of safety gears, and regulate maintenance of the machines. And this act mandates provisions for drinking water, washroom, first aid facilities, etc. And then the next act you must be know is Mines Act 1952. Its objective is to regulate the working conditions in mines and ensure safety and health of the miners. Its key provisions are safety of the miners, means requires proper ventilation, safe machinery, and emergency protocols to be followed in the mines. For health, it mandates regular medical examinations of the miners and provisions of cleaning water for them, clean water, drinking water from them. Then for welfare, the provision including housing, education, and recreation facilities for the mines. The next act is Employees State Insurance Act 1948, means ESI. All of you know this. Its objective is to provide social security and health insurance to the workers. Its key provisions are medical benefits. It provides medical care to the insured workers and their families. It offers financial support during sickness, maternity, and employment injury to the workers and their families. And it includes provisions for physical and vocational rehabilitations of the workers in case of any accident or sickness. The next act is Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions Code 2020. Its objective is to consolidate and amend the laws regulating the occupational safety, health, and working conditions of the workers. Key provisions of this act are: safety means ensures safe working conditions, proper training, and safety equipment. Health, it mandates regular health checkup of the workers, clean drinking water, and sanitation facilities for them. Then welfare, it includes provisions for canteens, restrooms, crèches for the workers. Examples where these acts are implemented, for example, in manufacturing industries, the Factories Act 1948 ensures that manufacturing units maintain safe machinery, provide safety gears, and conduct regular safety drills. So it impact is that it improved worker safety and reduced accidents in factories. Then in mining industry, the act which is applicable is Mines Act 1952. It mandates regular health checkup and safety measures like proper ventilation and emergency protocols. It impacts in enhanced safety and health conditions for miners, reducing occupational hazards. Then healthcare for workers. For them, the act which is applied is Employees State Insurance Act (ESI) Act 1948, which provides medical care and financial support to the workers during illness or injury. It resulted in better health outcomes and financial security for the workers and their family. So, cost to implement safety measures. Initial cost for safety equipment, conducting training programs, upgrading facilities, these can be expensive, but it has a long-term benefit. Means it will reduce workplace accidents, it will improve workers' health, and it increased productivity, which can offset this initial cost. For example, implementing comprehensive safety measures in a factory, it may involve significant upfront investment, but it can lead to lower accident rates and higher employee morale, ultimately benefiting the business. So these laws and their implementation are crucial for ensuring safety, health, and welfare of the workers across various industries in India. So this is all about environmental issues and their effect, and of course certain acts and laws which, as per your syllabus, you must be conversant with, and you may get 3% questions out of this topic. So anybody having any doubt, anything about this environmental issues?
Now you can ask your doubt. If you're having any doubt related to this subject, you can unmute yourself and ask the doubt. This topic worth 3 marks. You will certainly get 3 questions out of this.
Cumulative frequency में था.
Very important topic and very scoring also.
Sir, cumulative frequency.
You're not audible, Mr. Sahil.
Sir, अभी सुन पा रहे?
You're not audible, sir. Your speaker is not clearly.
No, sir.
Your
Brother,
speaker is
please
not.
try to change your internet connection.
Sir,
Maybe
mine
that
set,
internet connectivity that your voice is not clear, sir.
sir, mine set in 1952 or 1950, 42 or 52.
So it might be written there. I will check it.
I think it is something.
1952.
Sir, this presentation will be given to you. Don't worry, everything is there.
Sir, I think at one place it is 42, one place it is 52.
Mines
If I'm
Act
not
is 1952 and the Factories Act is for 48.
okay, 52. Okay, sir.
Yes.
I
So
will
might
consider.
be there.
Might
Because
be, no
they
problem, sir.
have just written one line there.
No problem, sir. I just corrected in my diary for further noting only my record.
Ji Sahil ji.
Okay,
आ
sir.
रही है बात?
So basically, our aim is to learn how these environmental factors can affect the value. Whenever you go to do the valuation, see, you go to do the valuation of an factory. This factory is producing some pollutant which is being discharged into the soil, into the ground, or some byproducts they are dumping in the backyard, which may cause environmental issues. How these can affect the value of the property? So many times you ignore these factors. Environmental issues are merely never taken, really never taken by the valuers in consideration. I think many of you might be in this profession as a valuer for many years. Have anyone ever considered this environmental factor in your valuation?
No, no.
सर एज अ रिस्क इंजीनियरिंग में मैं जैसे ऐसा रिस्क इंजीनियरिंग वर्क कर रहा था तो उसमें हम एनवायरनमेंट इशू देखते हैं कि व्हाट गैसेस प्रोड्यूसेस मतलब आफ्टर द जैसे डंप करते हैं वो तो वो हम देखते हैं उसमें.
So that is other issues. Otherwise, as far as if you are doing even for plant and machinery, you are doing valuation. Maybe that plant or machinery is producing a lot of pollutions, which may affect the value because it may lead to some legal entangles also. Many times the neighbors or the nearby inhabitants they may file a case that they are discharging water in the subsurface, etc. So you have to take these things into consideration. And if you think you are not capable of assessing the reduction in value, you may take the help of some environmental expert also, which you can incorporate in your valuation report.
One
You may
major
take-
tower in Noida or Ghaziabad and one tower near the seashore of Mumbai has been demolished by the notice of this NGT and other pollution effects. And the valuers who have provided the valuation of flats of these buildings are facing legal complications now. So it is very important to consider the environmental effects as well as the local zoning bylaws of the property you are valuing.
Sir, I have a question
While giving
actually.
any value, there are any norms like if there is an industry, we should give this percentage to that industry like that. Is there any values?
Sir, it all depends upon you. When you go for doing the valuation, please check whether any problem of pollution is there. May it be noise pollution, water pollution, air pollution, soil contamination, anything related with it. And check whether any case has been filed in the court regarding this by any person against the concern.
If you are
And
not
how
confident,
this may affect the value if you are not able to identify these things, you can take the help of an environmental expert and you can incorporate his details in your valuation report.
if you are not competent to get the required results, you can always don't hesitate to take the help of a expert environmental engineer. And as Rajvinder sir already told, incorporate each and every data provided by him in your report for reference purposes.
Sir, is there any kind of approval from NGT these construction site get from National Green Tribunal?
So you have to take all whenever you go to do the valuation. So at a construction site, first thing if it is approved by RERA.
Oh, sir, that is fine. RERA is one thing.
RERA will only approved after taking all the, if the person has taken all the permissions from all the concerned authorities which are connected with that project. Only then it will be.
So if
that
any
is-
project which is RERA approved, that means we don't have to check any
but
other
even
approvals.
even then, if you have any doubt, you may ask from the client to give
No,
the
sir,
details.
my point is, if any construction which is RERA approved, then in that case we don't need to check any other documents, like you
It
said.
is not that. Maybe they have given certain conditional permissions that if you have sewage treatment plant, then you can do that. If you do this, only then this permission is given.
And sir, do NGT
ऐसा
provide
कुछ
any
नहीं है,
kind of
मनोज जी, ज्यादा
approval?
हम इस बारे में डिस्कस करेंगे,
This-
ऑफ द टॉपिक नहीं जाएंगे, लेकिन फिर भी आप, इट इज योर ड्यू डिलिजेंस टू चेक ईच एंड एवरीथिंग. अगर रेरा ने गलत कर दिया है तो भी अगर आपको लग रहा है गलत है या किसी वजह से कोई उसमें कंडीशन, टर्म्स एंड कंडीशन अप्लाइड है, तो आपको चेक करना है. इट इज योर ड्यू डिलिजेंस टू, बिकॉज यू आर साइनिंग द रिपोर्ट, valuation report. RERA is not doing the valuation of the property. They are just approving the maps and other things. So it is your due diligence at the time of visit of the property to verify all the related concepts and acts and facts. If you are having any confusion, you can always take the help of an environmental engineer, and we will restrict our discussion to the topic only, to the syllabus only, not beyond that. There may be lakhs of questions related to practical life and other things, but we will restrict our discussion to the concerned syllabus only.
All right, sir.
सर आई एम ऑडिबल?
Yes, sir.
सर एक चीज समझना चाह रहा था, जैसे प्रैक्टिकली एक मैंने क्वेश्चन
जी सर.
विद इन द 2
सर आपकी आवाज पूरी नहीं आ रही.
सर एक हमने वैल्यूएशन करी थी, उसके विद इन 200 मीटर्स में कोल्ड स्टोर आ रहा था एक.
जी.
तो ऐसे केस में सर रिस्क फैक्टर तो बढ़ जाता है कोल्ड स्टोर के केस में, तो इसको एनवायरनमेंट के उसमें काउंट करेंगे या नहीं करेंगे, इसको सर कैसे लेंगे, थोड़ा बता सकते हैं कुछ?
सर this is up to you to decide what affects it particular industry may cause to the property of which you are doing the evaluation.
जी
How
सर.
it can affect.
तो सर
So
इस
if
केस
you
में
are not
वैल्यू
able, if you are not able to be capable, if you think you are not capable of finding the problem, you can take the help of some environmental expert. Take his help.
फाइन सर.
But be sure to make proper assessment.
फाइन सर.
So any other related question to syllabus?
ठीक है सर, maybe we can have a short 5-minute water break.
Okay.
At 12:55 we will be back. with our next topic, which is report writing.
Right, sir. So friends, we are going to take a one more very interesting topic, report writing. That is the final output of your each and every efforts done during your business.